internet of value at Ripple, we're thinking much bigger than just cross-border payments. It's kind of like Amazon with rare books in the early days, just this market happens to be a $10 trillion market.
We are at a historic turning point.
Said in the past that you are doing for money what email did for communication.
Moving the whole revolution forward.
Take on it.
There's trillions of dollars parked around the world.
XRP.
Is there a possibility that Ripple could take over Swift one day?
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of 24 Hours of Crypto. Let's get right into today's episode. Chainlink and Swift just announced that they are partnering up and unlocking the next evolution of global finance. So this is where I start packing up my bags. I'm so sorry that we were wrong about XRP and Ripple, and many of you guys know exactly where I'm going with this. Yeah, obviously I'm joking. Great for Chainlink, but how do people still seem to spread FUD on something that they don't understand? And that is the settlement layer. And two things happened today, ironically. Swift and Chainlink partner up, and then Citibank came out today, just hours ago, and announced that Citi achieves industry first, integrating Citi token services with 24/7 USD clearing for real-time cross-border payments and liquidity management. Okay, so I'm gonna get right into it. Listen to this part. Citi Token Services leverages a private permissioned blockchain to facilitate tokenized internal liquidity transfers within Citi's network. And listen to what Ryan Rugg says here quickly.
For Citi itself or for a bank in general to implement public blockchains?
It's going to really depend on regulation, in my opinion, because right now it's only permissible for us to be on a permission chain. So if regulation changes and regulators get comfortable with public, we will definitely go down that route. But right now, from a regulatory standpoint, we're sticking with permission. So it really depends, I think, on that. And as you know, today we've talked about in the past, it's very bifurcated across the different regions, right?
Okay, Ryan Rugg, the same lady that's going to be attending Ripple Swell in the coming weeks. Ryan Rugg, the same individual that was with R3 in 2016 till 2020, worked there for 5 years, and she was head of North America. And guess what? The best part is they implemented XRP at her time there. So she knows exactly how this is all going to flow, right? Because if you go on to the press release that was put together by R3, December 5th, 2018, Ripple, R3 settled down for a universal payment app. And that's where they announced that they're going to be utilizing XRP as the first settlement mechanism. And if we go back to 2016, where Ripple and R3 teamed up and they did a trial with 12 banks, and XRP was the cross-border asset for the cross-border payments. And if you listen to what the CEO said at the time, the tradition of holding numerous currencies across multiple accounts in different countries is costly and inefficient. This is a legacy issue from a time when the technology did not exist to offer a viable alternative. However, digital assets and distributed ledger can now enable real-time exchange for currencies between parties anywhere in the world without the need for a third-party intermediary. This prototype paves the way for a major overhaul of how banks process and settle cross-border payments. And remember, this happened back in 2016. And in 2018, R3 came out and they said they're going to be utilizing XRP for settlements. And I know many of you guys are going to say, oh, well, it's not happening anymore. You're right. It's not happening anymore. Because since then, Ripple got sued. XRP was blacklisted from the entire US markets. And just, less than 2 years ago, everything started again. And many of you guys think that we have conspiracy tinfoil hats on here when we talk about, the potential value of XRP. But the thing is, if you just follow what was going on, it's all right in front of you. Because Citibank is coming out and telling you this, and also don't forget what Ryan Rugg said.
Which includes not just the Citi token. We want to work with other banks, like we've done on the regulated liability network with the Fed and other banks. Like clients don't want, individual bank tokens. They want multi-token, multi-border liquidity for added efficiency.
And then if you recall, Ripple purchased, I'm going to butcher it, Matico, for $250 million back in May 18th of 2023. And if you guys recall, Citibank actually partnered up with now Ripple technically to develop institutional digital asset custody capabilities in June 22nd, 2022. Look at all those twos. And then a year later, Ripple purchases them. So now they're working with Citibank. And XRP is that settlement layer. It's very, I'm going to go over this again briefly. But the thing is, Chainlink, this is a huge announcement. This is great, but it's nowhere near to what XRP was designed to do. And trust me, I get it. We may sound delusional, but time is going to settle everything. We're not going to look delusional when XRP is at $10, $20, $30, $40 and above, right? Because think about it this way, okay? If you go over the metrics of Chainlink, they're doing a lot. They're not just an Oracle network, okay? They're much bigger than that. But what dwarfs an Oracle network is a settlement asset, and that's what XRP was designed to do. Okay, XRP is in an entirely different category. I want you to understand this. And this is facts. This is not bullshit. This isn't about just them feeding data. Okay? It's not about DeFi. XRP is a neutral settlement asset built from the ground up to be a globally liquid, scalable, and finality asset. Okay? Remember, a neutral bridge is not tied to one bank. XRP is not tied to one bank or one country or one network, okay? It's got a universal connector to it. And Citi's token works with Citi. JPM coin works with JPM. But XRP works across all of them at half the cost. When people understand that settlement is completely different, and when you want to try to do a settlement at scale, that is not something easy. And having deep liquidity pockets in an asset to handle billions and trillions in the future is not easy. Okay, but you do need something. Right now, USD is the dominant currency in the world. Why? Because we got brainwashed and it got inflated to be the most powerful currency in the world. It's not really backed by anything. And that's a fact. Look at the debt clock. Crypto's out. Now Trump is saying, oh, we're going to get rid of crypto, the debt clock that we falsely created with crypto, because crypto is going to go into 100 trillions of dollars in value. And we could take a chunk of that, 35 trillion, and pay off the debt and start zero. Like, come on. How do you just wipe $35 trillion? Because it was fake to begin with.
When I talk to my conservative friends right here, they always tell me that the problem is high taxes. But they're wrong. Of course, high taxes are extremely high here in the United States. I give you that. You're right in that. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is not the high taxes themselves, but the fact that they are not even really funding the government. But even those high taxes, higher than a lot of places in the world, but even those taxes are really funding the government. So who's financing the government? Government is financed by treasury bonds, paper. And who buys the treasury bonds? Mostly the Fed. And how does the Fed buy them? By printing money. But what backing does the Fed have for that money being printed? The treasury bonds themselves. So basically, you finance the government by printing money out of thin air. Someone could ask, well, so if the government can print unlimited amounts of money out of thin air, why did they collect taxes?
No! God, please, no! No! No!
I mean, in theory, it would make sense, right? If they can print unlimited amounts of money, why would they need taxes for? The answer is simple, but it's very shocking. The real problem is that you pay high taxes only to uphold the illusion that you are funding the government, which you are not. It's shocking, but it's true. The government is funded by money printing. Paper backed with paper. A bubble that will inevitably burst. The situation is even worse than it seems, because if most Americans and the rest of the world were to become aware of this farce, confidence in your currency will be lost. The dollar will fall, and the Western civilization with it. If the next president of the United States doesn't make the necessary policies and structural changes,
I think it's good. Who knows, maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion, hand him a little crypto check, right? We'll hand him a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
But how do you...
Sooner or later, that bubble will burst. There's still time. You don't have to make the same mistakes we did in the 60s and the 70s. You can still jump before the water boils.
So remember, Chainlink and XRP are both important. They don't compete. They're absolutely not interchangeable. Okay? So the people that say, and you probably hear right now that Chainlink, is about to kill XRP, it's so crazy. And whatever arguments that they even have about, oh, look, people were saying Ripple and XRP were working with Swift, blah, 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 and it looks out to be Chainlink. Listen, why are we jumping the gun September 29th, 2025 when nothing even has begun yet? Okay, when you work on Ripple's level, when you're on Ripple's level buying companies for billions of dollars, listen, you don't announce everything that you do, right? You do understand the reason where Swift is at today is because of Ripple. Okay, Ripple was the individuals that put pressure on them, and that is why Swift is even here to begin with, right? Remember, the objective was to always work with Swift, not to compete against Swift, because when you collide the private sector and the public sector, you could do some magic there. But this time, the private sector was coming in with a technology that was about to make the banks go bankrupt in the fee category, okay? And when you do that, when you come in to take chunks out of their billions in profits, they're going to do everything within their power to slow you down. And that's a fact. And if you think that is BS, just unsubscribe, leave a dislike, and don't come back. Okay, but at the end of the day, I'm telling you right now, because we're at crucial times, this ecosystem is going to coil up and blow up dramatically. Even if they try to slow it down, be thankful, because you could get into at these levels. Okay, this is not hopium, this is not hype, this is a public service announcement with everything that is going on, because these dominoes are gonna fall a lot faster than you think. And they're already starting to fall. Swift and Citibank come out the same day, announce, blockchain integrations. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate every single one of you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I am on fire right now in terms of just, wow, it's completely two different things. And it blows my mind that people are going to even, try to compare the two. It's 2025. Where are we today? Okay. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate every single one of you guys, and we'll be back with another video.
We talk about first mover advantage a lot, and it's actually very interesting because in technology, it can certainly be possible to be too early to develop a product that the world is just not ready to receive, or the infrastructure isn't in place to make that product as successful as it could be. So sometimes the first mover doesn't always win. Sometimes they're too early. But I think that it's not just about the first mover effect for adoption. It's also about the first mover effect for standards. So whoever's first out of the gate here is going to set norms and standards around privacy, around how open the system is, and actually very detailed standards in how transactions are formatted and how they interact. And as financial institutions start onboarding onto these systems, they're going to get used to one set of standards, and it's going to be extra work to add in new sets of standards.
Like we're in the midst of a once-in-a-lifetime shift, of a once-in-a-lifetime shift, of a once-in-a-lifetime shift, of a once-in-a-lifetime shift.
Well, I woke up this morning, check my bags on the chain. XRPL still humming while the FUD folks complain. Ripple fighting Goliath, yeah, the SSA's game. But Johnny D and Hogan, they're bringing the flame. So we salute to the rebels in suits, to the coders and hodlers wearing dusty old boots. Raise a toast to the ledger and the lawyer saying clarity now, while shorts codes the stars with the hologram cow watch. The haters keep chirping, but the people ain't blind. This ain't some mean dream, it's the internet's spine. Regulators stalling, but the clock's ticking fast. Ripple drops the case like a baseline blast. Communities united, from Twitter to the street. We meme through the madness and never admit defeat. Yeah, we salute to the devs and the geeks, to the ledger that clears in seconds, not weeks. To D, to Hogan, to Legal Delight, and the salty old taco that just loves to spite. Hey Jed, you done yet? Or you got another dump scheduled for lunch? So here's to the warriors, the freaks, and the fans, waving salute tokens like battle flags in hand. It ain't just about coins, it's a movement, a pact. We defend what we build, and we're taking it back. Come on, salute to the ones in the fight, to the token that laughs in regulatory spite, to Schwartz, Brad, and the ones still believing, even while taco stands always leaving. So strong, one for Ripple, one for XRP, and raise your guitar for decentralized dreams. This song's for the ledger, the truth and the proof. With a smile and a nod, we say salute.
I think what we're building has, it's solving a real problem. And I think all of the tokens, my advice to anybody would be, understand the utility. If there's real utility and there's real value being delivered to a real customer, there will be value in the token.